G'day, Keithy here. Thanks for joining me again. Good to have you with me. If you're new here too, don't forget to subscribe. You can do that down there and do all the other stuff you usually do. Comment, let me know what's going on. Anyway, today, pretty cool. We've got something else we've got to open up and we're going to fit, but anyone's guess. So grab a coffee, guys, sit down and we'll talk about what we got here. We'll do the magic unboxing because I know how much you guys like an unboxing. And we'll get into it, install and see how this thing goes. Go without checking this out.
Staring at the fires now. G'day, Keithy here. G'day, Keithy here. G'day, Keithy here.
Alrighty, so I know how you guys like a really good unboxing. So I've got my extremely blunt knife and a lovely blue box here from, this is actually from VIC Off-road. Now, there's a good story to go behind this too, because I was talking to a mate of mine recently about dual battery systems and things like that. So that's what this has got to do with. We'll get in, open it, and I'll finish the story off for you now. So let's get into an extremely slow unboxing that you guys love. How cool is that? That was quick. So this is an Atem Power. This is an AP40 DC. So this is a DC-DC charger. 40 obviously stands for 40 amp. And the reason that I've got this is because I was talking to a mate, and funny enough, I got overheard by the team at VIC Off-road. Now they were saying that the lovely little red arc charger that I've got in the back here, which is a 50 amp charger, is all good and well, but sometimes you don't need to spend the big dineros to try and get yourself into a quality charger, and you don't need 50 amp sometimes. On the system that I've got, they reckon I'd get away with this Atem Power 40 amp charger. So I said, all right, challenge accepted. Let's get this thing here. Let's unbox it, chuck it in there, and we'll take it out and see exactly what it can do. So I'll finish the unboxing now and show you exactly what's in here, and then we can chuck it in there. I'll show you a little bit about that, and then we can get on to what we're going to do to test it out. This is well packaged. 15% off card. Now that is not too bad. User manual. If you have a look at that before I even take the stuff out of there, that is really well packaged. Like, you cannot argue with that. And it's all wired up, ready to go straight away. I will say I'm rather impressed by this. The packaging is definitely a 10 out of 10. The information, now I haven't read through the manual, but it does look pretty good as well. There's a lot of information in there. There's a couple of pictures, a little wiring diagram. So as far as the unboxing and the product that you receive, I reckon that's definitely so far a 10 out of 10. As far as weight goes, it feels like it's a fairly weighty old unit. It's got I can't remember what they're called, but cooling system here, so the air will flow through there to keep the thing cool. It looks really well designed. It's got all of the charts and settings up here that you can select, obviously based on what kind of battery you're operating with, and all of that other kind of stuff. So that looks really good. I will read the user manual before I set all this up once it's got power, but that is pretty simple right there. That's very similar to what I've already got in the back here, so it's not going to be very difficult at all to swap that for this. Okay, so before I completely disconnect all of this, I wanted to show you how simple it is. It took me 5 minutes off camera to just get the system out basically from where it was. This is how simple it is. 1 and 2 up the top. 2 bolts. I can remove this panel here from its location, lift it up to where the fridge was, and then I have access to all of the other attachments, etc., and I can get into the battery. Now, as you see, I've also removed the hold down screws for the red arc. So it's free. All I need to do now is open up the panel, remove the connections for the red arc, and then we can reconnect the Atem Power and see how it goes. It is so simple. But that's what I love about this setup, because it is adaptable. As long as you're using an Anderson plug to connect things together, you can remove them, take it away, inspect, repair, and I tell you what, you can find Anderson plugs anywhere. So they're so easy to apply to a system such as this. So I'll get into that now. All I've got to do is disconnect 3 wires, remove them, bolt up the Atem Power, and then we'll have a little bit of a look and see what it's going to do. I'll explain how the Atem Power works as well once we've got it in. Here we are with the door open. We've got the Anderson plugs visible on the back of the red arc here, and we've got the Anderson plugs visible here on the Atem Power. Now you will notice that there are 2 Anderson plugs from the red arc, and there are 3 plus an extra wire on the Atem Power. Now don't worry, it's not any different in any way to wire into the system, just as the red arc is and the back setup is willing to accept. What's happened here is where the red arc has only got 1 earth wire coming out of the charger, there are 3 coming out of the back of the Atem Power. No biggie, I'm just going to have to disconnect all of the earths here and connect them into one. The wiring setup here, I've got the red one for the solar and for the main power coming to the charger, and then these 2 are going out on a plain old normal Anderson plug. So that's how I will wire this system up here, exactly the same as that, so that it plugs in like for like in the back of the car. This one here, this wire on its own is actually an ignition wire, so I guess if you've got a smart alternator or you're sensitive up the front to voltage loss or anything like that, this one here might be able to connect up to the ignition, which I'm not going to do. I will cut that and seal it. But I also read with interest in here, and you look at, there's quite a number of little options on the controller panel on the Atem Power. So I had a bit of a read about it. It's got this one here called reverse charge. I thought, what is that about? You can actually reverse charge using this charger, which is really good. So imagine if your auxiliary battery is full. Fantastic. You've got all of this solar and nothing to do with it. You hit that button, or hold it down for 3 seconds, according to that, and it will actually send current back down to your crank battery, which is very, very intelligent. I like that. Can't do that with the red arc. I think that's really, really intelligent, so I will test that out as well. Now, the fun part, well, not really, to disconnect these Anderson plug, make all of these earth wires here connect into one, and then simply remove the red arc through the back of this casing here, put the Atem Power in, bolt him up, and let's get testing. This is where we're at now. So the 3 Anderson plugs on the earth leads, 1, 2, 3, disconnected. What I've got to do now is essentially join them all together like that into there. So I may have to take a little bit of the wiring off. That's not going to affect it, given it's a 40 amp charger and that wire there is considerably larger than necessary for the job. Heat shrink is obviously important too, so I'll chuck some heat shrink on there to make sure that we don't have any issues down the track. And then one of these Anderson plugs can cop that negative load, which will probably be this one here. These 2 here, as described before, one of them solar and one of them is from the main battery, positive. Both are positive, so I will label that to say that it's both positive. That's just the way that my setup runs. Everyone's got something different, guys, so that's how I've set mine up. And I also labeled the connector there. So I will use my other connector because I've labeled the negative as a positive feed for the solar from the solar panel. So I'll get into that now. I'll put these into that and we will have ourselves an earth connection, and I can put that back in there put it all back together here, and let's go and test it after that. Okay, here we are. So I've connected all of the earth wires together. It doesn't look the prettiest, but they're soldered together, so they're not going to come apart. They've got their own little connector there. So we need to basically hook these two fellas up to the red one, because that's power in and solar in. And these two here, power out, positive and negative. So that's pretty simple. And then I can put it in there, screw it up, connect up all of the stuff, and then we can assess how it actually performs. There we go. So we are just hanging at the moment, ready to connect up to the existing system. And the installation couldn't be any easier than that. Now it's time to connect these two up, and we'll get it going, test her out. Okay, so here we are. Apologies if you can hear the wind. It's actually super duper windy here at the moment. I don't know why. We're in the sun, the vehicle's off. The new system is installed. The only downside that I have with this new system is all of the lights and gauges and stuff are down the end here. We're at the opposite end of the charger to where I will see everything, but that's not the end of the world. I can still see it if I lean over. Now it's charging at the moment. As you can see, it's got 13.2 volts there. It actually says, if you read the indicator down here, that this auxiliary battery is full. So every now and then it'll spike up a little bit, but it thinks that the main battery is full, which it most likely is anyway. So that's really good to hear. And what has done that is the solar. So it spiked up and basically charged in the time it took me to get this camera back here to charge the battery up to full. So there we go so far. That is the install done for the Atem Power. The 40 amp DC-DC charger. So thank you to VIC Off-road for supplying the test material, aka the Atem Power. We're going to go and test it now, because we've got it sitting here and it's already topped that battery up in the time it took me to put nuts and bolts together basically and come over and press record on the camera there. So we need to put it to the test. If you've seen my videos, you'll know that I've done a test where I run the fridge and a couple of other items, charged phones and things like that from the back here to sort of challenge, I guess, the projector that was, not the projector, the red arc system that was in there. So now we're going to do the exact same thing with this, but I'm going to do it at a different place. So wait till the next video. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. And you'll see this thing in action, in anger, a little bit of solar, a little bit of power from the alternator, and a lot of things loading it up. I'll try and get a lot of things to charge up this time. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe down there, like, do all the things that you normally do down there. I've got plenty of videos that are very similar to this one here. So don't forget to subscribe, like, throw your comments down, and I want to see the outcome of this one here versus the old Red Arc. So let's see how they go. Red Arc was a good machine. This one is a 40 amp where the Red Arc was a 50 amp. So I don't know, let's see how we can go with 40 amps. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, guys. Take care.